So in the run-up to 9/11, all the people who were blamed for it and the forces blamed for it were interconnecting with the Bush family on a business and other levels because agenda and movie. 9/11, problem, reaction, solution. This guy, a major placeman for the Illuminati, Tony Blair, that's why he keeps winning elections. He said this after 9/11. This is a moment to seize. The kaleidoscope has been shaken, the pieces are in flux, soon they will settle again. Before they do, let us reorder this world around us. Problem, reaction, solution, exactly what 9/11 was about. The problem: 4 planes basically simultaneously hijacked in American airspace. And in that period of, 2 hours or so while it was going on, the apparently most powerful military force in the world did absolutely nothing that made any difference whatsoever to the outcome. Why? This guy, Leroy Fletcher Prouty, who was involved in special operations during the Kennedy administration, said this about assassinations, but it totally applies to what we're talking about. No one has to direct an assassination, it happens. The active role is played secretly by permitting it to happen. This is the greatest single clue. Who has the power to call off or reduce the usual security precautions? That applied to the assassination of Kennedy, applied to the assassination of Bobby Kennedy, the assassination of Martin Luther King, and clearly the assassination of Princess Diana when the security was down to virtually nothing at the time she died. That's what happens all the time. Again, for such a simple reason. If the real level of security is there, what they want to happen won't happen. So remove the security and let it happen. 9/11, a classic example. Where the hell were NORAD? NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, has the role of defending American airspace from attack. Not only American, but Canadian as well. This is what it says on its own website. They are partners in protecting our homelands, deter, detect, and defend against air and space threats to North America. Now, I just wonder, I feel it in the water myself, I just wonder if 4 airliners basically simultaneously attacked over American airspace might just constitute a attack on North American airspace. I just wonder. And NORAD are there to react to this. In the whole period that it happened, there was no reaction that made any difference whatsoever. NORAD's operational headquarters is at Cheyenne Mountain, in 2,000 feet into this granite mountain. And inside, they have the state of the art tracking and communication technology. They are part of the process of guiding the space shuttle. They have direct connections, communications into the Pentagon. They are connected into the satellite system. They're watching about 8,000 pieces of debris floating around in space. They also pride themselves, indeed boast, that one of the great ways that they make the American military effective is they are able to guide them from a distance logistically because of all the communications and tracking equipment they've got. If a missile goes off somewhere in the world, they know about it. When they were asked, why did you not react earlier to these hijacked aircraft, their reply was basically, no one told us. I smell something fishy there myself. This is some of the inside of Cheyenne Mountain that they allow us to see. Incredible operation, and they can, someone has a gin and tonic on an aircraft, they basically know about it, And this is some of the scale of tracking equipment that is available. This was in Airman magazine, talking about the capabilities of the Global Hawk unmanned surveillance plane, of which more shortly. This is what it said. On an early test, for example, Global Hawk flew 58 or 6,000 feet over the Naval Weapons Center at China Lake, California. The images it gathered were so clear that an electro-optical image stands out next to an FA-18 fighter. An infrared image showed where concrete had cooled down from the shadow of a C-130 that had recently taken off. And they got that from 56,000 feet. And they can't find Bin Laden. And they couldn't react quicker to what was happening on 9/11. Please. One of the stories that kind of tells the tale is the one of Flight 77 that hit the Pentagon, which I'll come to in a second. I mean, that was just an incredible example of how this was orchestrated non-response. What's supposed to happen, according to the official regulations, is once a transponder connection is lost and or connection to a cockpit, then the air traffic control tells NORAD they launch jets and they go up to find out what's going on. Of course they do. You can't have aircraft flying around American airspace that's lost contact with the ground. The case of the golfer Payne Stewart was an example of how this operation works all the time. He took off in a Lear jet, and because of decompression problems and stuff, everyone went unconscious. And it was flying on autopilot. What happened was, NORAD were told by air traffic control, they launched jets and they tracked it across America until it ran out of fuel and crashed in a place where no one was going to get hurt. That's what they did with a Lear jet. With a 757-767, nothing that made any difference to events. The Federal Aviation Administration, the government civilian part of this operation, the air traffic control and stuff, if the timeline that I was given by NORAD and was confirmed by them is true, so it seems it is, then this organization has massive questions to answer about non-reaction, but they're questions it's not being asked by anyone in authority or the mainstream media. Interestingly, the guy who was running security for the Federal Aviation Administration at the time of 9/11 was this guy, Michael Canavan. His previous job was head of psychological warfare and special operations. Quite a career move, I feel. He left the FAA shortly after 9/11. Now, like I say, this one is the Flight 77 is an example that kind of encapsulates the whole thing. You are, according to Mueller, the FBI chief at the time, you are highly professional hijackers who have been orchestrating this for years, he said. You know, because you only have to go on the internet to find out, what the reaction operation is, the system, to hijackings. That is, the authorities launch jets to go up and see what's going on. So, you take off from Washington Dulles Airport, and your target, we are told, is the Pentagon just down the road. So these highly professional, years in the making terrorists and hijackers plan to confuse people. What they do is fly a bloody plane 45 minutes into the Midwest. They then hijack it and fly it 45 minutes back to hit a building down the road from where they took off. Yes, that makes sense. It is insane. It is ludicrous. It is the official story. Those two statements are interchangeable, by the way. And it hit, or so we're told, Flight 77 hit the Pentagon without any response from the most powerful military operation in the world when it's flown 45 minutes back from the Midwest to hit the headquarters of the American military. Are you kidding? What they did was launch jets to react to Flight 77 coming in from the Midwest from Langley Air Force Base, 130 miles away. And they all just didn't get there in time. Little question. Why didn't they launch them from the Andrews Air Force Base 10 miles down the road, where they protect the Washington airspace from? I rang NORAD, and I said to them, who defends this airspace across Washington that no one is allowed into? You know, around the center of Washington and stuff. And who defends this airspace? They said, it's the civilian operation. Oh, you mean the FAA? Yeah. So I go to the FAA and I said, how do you police this no-fly zone over Washington? They said, oh, we just do it as appropriate. Well, what the hell does that mean? What's the point in having a no-fly zone over Washington if you're policing the bugger from 130 miles away? Little bit of a waste of time, one thinks. Of course, where it's policed from is the Andrews Air Force Base. Why then did they not react from there on 9/11? Because it would not have had the effect if they had. The DC Air National Guard, the Capitol Guardians, brackets except on 9/11, say that they protect Washington from attack. So what they say on their website, the DC Air National Guard is located at Andrews Air Force Base. We're home to the 113th Wing, Fighter Squad, and all that stuff. The DC Air National Guard stand ready to respond to the needs of the District of Columbia and the nation should the need arise, except on 9/11.